Welcome to A Deeper Look Radio. And you know, it never ceases to amaze me how many people can be brainwashed by mere pictures. Pictures is all it takes for these people. That's it. That's all they need. Just pictures. Now, when most people think about pictures, they think of snapping a picture of something and then showing it to you. But as we're going to learn, you know, in NASA world and in science, you know, when you start getting into these fields that, you know, give us these images, supposedly, you're going to realize that pictures aren't quite what you thought that they were. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with this. We're going to start with this guy. We're going to start with this picture. This is the famous 2002 Blue Marble. This is the picture that's on your iPhones, you know, and all of that shit. It's a very famous picture. This is not real. This is not a real picture. Oh, you think this is a real picture? You think I'm just a dumb, stupid conspiracy theorist? Okay, well, you're actually the dumb one because you don't never investigate or do any research into anything. If you do, you'll come across this man right here. Now, his name is Rob Simmons, and his job is lead data visualizer and information designer. You see, everything when it comes to people don't know this. And that's what makes topics like this interesting. Everything that you see that comes from these organizations, when they tell you images, when they tell you pictures, these images and pictures are created from what they call raw data, whatever the fuck that may be, just information. There's no actual image there. It's information, and they create the image from the information. A lot of people don't know that that's how this operates. You see, even when it comes to observatories, I'm going to find this clip and put it up right here where Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about how observatories don't use actual telescopes anymore and about how they're all data ran. And there's, you know, how disappointed he was to see that the telescopes were data ran and that he couldn't actually see anything up there. So Rob Simmons made this picture of the Earth. He tells you right in the first fucking sentence, my role is to make imagery from Earth sciences data. So there's no image there, and he's creating the image from the data. Don't believe me? Read the very next fucking sentence. I turn data into pictures. This took about 5 minutes to find. It wasn't buried. It wasn't hidden. It's right there. This took me 5 minutes to find. Now, even more interesting is when they start to talk about how this image was created. Now we read down here, it says, we translate data into a usable and understandable form. Our writers and visualizers can explain what we are seeing, and our web developers tell the world. They're looking at data, and they are then turning the data into these pictures. Do you understand that? People think telescopes are snapping images, sending them back here. They do a little color correction, and then they put the shit out. They have no idea that these images are being created from data by these visual designers. You understand that? A few years ago, there was a picture of a black hole. We're going to take a look at this shit too. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to what this man is about to tell you he's showing these people.
Report to you today that we have seen what we thought was unseeable. We have seen and taken a picture of a black hole. We have seen and taken a picture of a black hole. We have seen and taken a picture of a black hole. We have seen and taken a picture of a black hole.
This fucking 8 pixel. Goddamn. The man just said, we have seen and we have taken a picture of a black hole, indicating to people that there's a telescope somewhere that aimed up into this direction and snapped a fucking picture of what you're looking at right here. And now, as we all know, that's a total fucking lie. Now, unfortunately for them, unfortunately for these people, this picture came out in the worst time possible. That being this whole new feminist movement where every news organization now has to pump up these fucking women. And because of that, they had to find a woman who was involved in this and pump her up. And they revealed a little bit too much, as we're going to see.
Image I ever made of a black hole as the first image I ever made of a black hole in disbelief as the first image I ever made of a black hole. The first image I ever made of a black hole was in the first image I ever made of a black hole was in the first image I ever made of a black hole was in the first image I ever made of a black hole was in the process of being reconstructed.
Okay. So as you would imagine, this, just like everything else, was done using 100% data. No actual physical imagery is taking place anywhere in this fucking picture right here. This is 100% data made. This is not an image and a picture as we consider them to be. Okay? It's fucking unbelievable. The first thing you have to realize is that you have to actually look into this a little bit. You know, this ain't something that you can just mosey around with. This is something that you actually have to look into. It took me 5 fucking minutes to find Rob Simmons, the guy who made the Blue Marble. It took 5 minutes to find this guy. It only took 5 minutes to find him. Only thing it takes is a little bit of research and you'll see these are not pictures as you claim, as you would imagine them to be. I mean, that's crazy. How many people didn't even know that? How many people you're just now knowing about that? And you know what? Since we're on the topic of pictures, let's actually get into some other pictures that I think are fucking weird. Be fucking weird. So if we look up pictures of Mars, you know, we see that one thing's for sure. Mars isn't getting any sort of shortage in sunlight. It's clearly very fucking bright out there. They're getting a lot of sunlight. What I don't understand, though, is how would they be getting this much sunlight? You see, the problem is this. Mars is way further away from the sun than Earth is. Now, I'm gonna kind of do a reread from deep inside the rabbit hole here, but I want you to think about this for a second. If you were 1 mile away from the sun would be so massive, every direction you look in, and it'll probably just be the sun. You know, you wouldn't even be able to fucking, every direction you look in and you'd only be able to see the sun because it's so fucking massive. Now we're going to pull you back 92 million miles, which is about how far Earth is from the sun. We're going to pull you back 92 million miles. And now the sun went from filling up your whole field of view to being the size of like a nickel. If you hold it up, if you hold a nickel up to the sun, it'll be about the same size. So we see what 90 million miles can do. We see how that distance right there can make things shrink a dramatic amount. The only problem, though, is that Mars is 146 million miles away from the sun. You're adding more than half the distance. You're adding an extra 55 million miles, and you think the sun's going to look the same in the sky? You saw what 93 million miles did. You saw how drastic the change was between 1 mile and 90 fucking million miles. Now you're adding an extra 55 million miles? And you think the sun is still going to be bright enough for it to light up the whole planet like that? How is that possible? It doesn't make any sense. But people believe that shit, man. And it's really fucking weird. This is one of their strongest tools this is one of their strongest grasps on people, is this space shit and this fucking science shit. This is one of the main ways that they keep us under fucking control. Even the people that think they're waking up to something, they still think they're living on a fucking floating ping pong ball. And as long as they think that, it's always gonna shift. This is why you have people like Graham Hancock. I think his name is Brian Forrester. This is why you have those ancient civilization and ancient alien guys, because they haven't wrapped their fucking head around the plane they live on. And because they haven't wrapped their head around that part, their only explanation for this shit is, oh, well, a comet got rid of this. And, oh, well, aliens must have done this. You understand? Because they haven't broken down the foundation yet. Once they get to that point, everything else will start making sense. It'll be nice to have, guys like Brian Foster in this community, to have guys like Graham Hancock in this community. They're really smart guys. They've done a lot of research, but they're going to be stuck where they are, and they're never going to be able to progress and to dig deeper because they're stuck in that fucking slump of believing everything they were taught their whole lives, believing that they live on a fucking ball, believing that this radiometric dating shit works, believing that this carbon dating shit works. As long as they're stuck in that rut, they're gonna, everything that they want to line up is going to be separated by thousands of fucking years. It'd be nice to have those guys in the community, but the space, NASA, all of that shit, it's one of their strongest fucking strongholds that they got on people when it comes to believing this shit. And, it's a shame, but it is what it is. We got to break free of this fucking shit. So I think that's enough. I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. This is a Deeper Look Radio. Catch you next time. Have a good one.